welcome back to the Project Mustang video series NONWICK. I've got some updates. I'm not as far along as I hope to be, which is going to be a running theme, but had a little bit of vacation mixed in, had regular work to do, so things add up. But I do have some fun updates. One of the biggest ones is under the hood, where there is no more engine. The engine's right there on an engine stand. There we go. We're making progress. Okay, other fun updates include parts that are on their way. Teamed up with the fine folks over at Holley who own every company under the sun apparently. We got some good stuff on the way. It's not actually on the way. I'm just saying that to camera. It's already here. It's sitting in the car. I'm going to show you shots of it. We're going to talk about it. The other fun thing is that I'm going to go whole hog here and dip my toe into the world of welding. I bought the least expensive MiG 90 welder from Eastwood. It was on sale. It was like $99. Normally it's like $299. It's set up. I haven't got the gas yet, but that's all I need to start welding. And that's intimidating, but there are a few spots in the car where it will be okay if it's ugly, but it would be good to have metal there. Like the fender apron, so I can connect the battery tray. And there's a little piece of the lower frame rail right up on the front on the passenger side that I would just like to put a little bit of metal on. Along the way, I'm going to get scrap metal to test, and because I've never welded before, never even tried to weld. I've watched, I'm a graduate of the School of YouTube, so I've watched maybe 10 to 15 different videos on how to do it, and the basics of it seem relatively easy, or at least understandable. Putting it into practice will be a different story, but I think I can do it. So we're gonna try. So in this episode, I'm gonna talk about and show you where we're at, some of the stuff we've got, including some bonus parts I got from the fine folks at OC Car who've worked on some of my stuff, and it's where the wagon is parked. Yes, my Mercedes wagon is still a thing. It's parked there. So you know what, let's dive in. All right, had to put the front wheels and tires back on to put the car back down on the ground because I'm not going to lift the engine out with it in the air. And I have the engine hoist hooked up. I don't love where it's connected to the engine, but the bolts are in deep and they're long enough bolts that it should be okay. And everything is disconnected except the engine mount. So I'm going to loosen the engine mounts, put tension on the hoist, and see if it comes out. So the big news, obviously, under the hood is that the engine is out. Now, I wasn't gonna just pull this out, but I was sitting there looking at it and I realized there's only three things basically keeping it in place. 2 bits of linkage and then the engine mounts. So I got a little bit of motivation. I told my daughter to hold my camera phone so I could capture some footage of it coming out. And I set off and I did it. And it came out and it felt good to get it to do so. So keep shooting though.
What if it fails and you're on it?
Then I will get out of the way.
Like if it fell? I don't think you would be quick enough.
All right. Engine's out. It's gonna live there for now. I have someone who wants it. It's gonna come pick it up maybe this coming week. But it's not a great balance. Like a V8, you can just sit on the ground and it's fine, or in a tire or something. This wants to go bamp, so we're gonna leave it hooked up. I made some space so I can still get to my mountain bike, which is very important. But the good news is we got a nice big hole here. So much room for activities. Now, as for those front suspension bits, OC Car Inc., which is a shop here in Lake Forest, California, and has done plenty of work for me. And I've gotten along really well with everyone there. And the owner, Brian, is a great guy. He has an old Mustang project of his own, and he had these Mustang front suspension bits sitting in a box, and he asked if I wanted them, and of course, yes, I do. So thank you very much for that. I'm looking forward to putting these on the car. This welder is a basic welder, and I think it's gonna be just enough to get me into a little bit of trouble, but not enough that I'm gonna burn my house down, but who knows? We'll see where it goes, and I'm excited to try. I've got the proper helmet, I've got to get a set of gloves and some better clothes for welding, and then I need to go find out where to actually buy a tank of gas to let the shenanigans begin. What I want to weld is this front fender apron into place because that's where I also need to bolt up the battery tray. And then there's this lower bit of frame rail that I'd like to clean up a bit as well. Two pieces that I don't think will be overly complicated, though I know when it comes to rehanging a fender, things can get a bit tricky, so hopefully I don't screw this one up that much. So let's take a moment to show you what's going on here. One of the brands that Holly owns is called Classic Instruments. And they make this absolutely gorgeous gauge cluster that is going to go in that car. And this is motivating me to hurry the hell up because this thing looks awesome. Oh my, that's awesome. The other crazy awesome thing is this box. This is the Holley Sniper EFI 2. And this is going to go on top of an engine once I buy an engine. I still have to buy an engine, but I have a line on one that could be amazing that still needs some work, which is something I want to do with the car. It'll still be a 302. It just has a few upgrades that have been done along the way for that engine's journey. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. It doesn't seem too difficult to wire up, but I'm saying that as someone who has no clue what they're doing, so we'll see. The gauge cluster shouldn't be a problem though, especially because Holly has also sent over what's called the Zeus link, which allows the gauge cluster to talk to the Holley Sniper EFI system, and then also to, I still need to do the whole painless wiring, which is in the back of the car as well. But like I said, time lately has sucked. However, I am motivated with all of this stuff sitting here. I told you that my goal for this video was to not just have the engine out, but also all the steering, suspension stuff, and the rear axle. Steering and suspension and rear axle is not as important as getting that engine out of the way, because that's a big milestone. That stuff is still important, but I don't feel like I'm falling too far behind, because it's going to take 2 seconds to get the rear axle out. I should knock on wood, assuming bolts aren't snapping off. And the suspension steering stuff is pretty damn easy, especially with the engine out of the way as well. So I do think we're moving at a decent pace, but the thing I'm going to do it because I've said it, and even though I haven't done it, I'm going to get it done off camera. Steering, suspension, rear axle, we'll get out of here, because the next video is going to be me starting the wiring process, which could be a nightmare, and also starting to learn to weld, which is going to be fun and terrifying and mostly fun, I think. Mostly fun. But the big thing will be sitting down and finally getting the wiring laid out, because that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's how it's the nervous system of the car, basically. So there we are. That's where we sit. I wanted to get a video out. I feel like it's been a couple weeks, and we need updates on this car. So it's not just falling by the wayside. Stuff is still happening. The engine is still out. And all the footage of the engine coming out, I did it on a whim. My daughter was holding my camera, or my phone, and that's why that looks like that. But still, thank you, Sloan. So there you go. I have lots more work ahead of me that hopefully isn't going to get in the way of this thing, but I am plowing forward, and we are moving, and this thing is happening.
Stand up. Oh, mate. Come on, mate. More power. More power. More power. More power. More power. More power.